So I believe that the future is heading towards a place where it's all about who you know, what they know, and also what you know and what you can bring to the table, and eventually create this community where people transfer knowledge. This is pretty much the biggest trend that is happening out there, and that it's going to keep evolving in the next years. So, having said that, I want to share a very brief story about a client that I work with that I think the concept that they apply to their own business of adding a layer of a real life experience plus community building. I think this could be applied to pretty much any business, and I think it's going to essentially be pretty much a go-to way to build a thriving company in the next years. So how to apply IRL experience plus community to any business. So let's say you have some kind of business idea. Let's say it's an app idea, right? You have this sort of digital concept in your head where you want to start selling something. So let's say you have an idea to, come up with some kind of like coffee store, whatever. You want to start selling coffee. You are a coffee lover. You love the geek world of coffee and what makes a great coffee, and you want to start selling something around coffee. So let's say you come up with this sort of marketplace store where people can buy all sorts of goods around coffee, not only coffee itself, but also tons of accessories and whatnot, right? So it's a coffee online store. Cool. And let's say that on the other side, you sort of have this dream or this idea in your brain that maybe someday you could have something in real life, like, for example, a coffee shop with a library and a co-working space, something like that, right? The interesting thing about what can happen when you add an in real life experience layer and a community layer to any kind of business is that actually this two could live together. They could actually be part of one company. And how you do that is by basically thinking about membership or just basic community. Let me give you a very real example from one of my clients. So I have this client. They come to us with the idea of building a wine marketplace for wine collectors. So any sort of wine collector can publish this super specific, super exclusive collectible wine, and a wine drinker can say, hey, I want that wine, and they can either pay full price or actually make a private offer, and then they can negotiate. And also sort of the bigger private sellers can also, join the platform and publish their catalog, right? Cool. So it's kind of a marketplace. People can just publish things, buy, sell. That's done, right? But then they say, what if we actually come up with an in-person experience where we actually build our own cellar to store the wines that people want to buy and sell, right? So nothing crazy so far. It's kind of like more on the logistics side, right? But then they say, what if we actually come up with a place where people can actually come, they can hang out, they can drink wine, they can try different wines, we can host tasting events, we can host some kind of networking events, and actually we can even go beyond that and say, hey, the place is available for selected members to use whenever they want on this specific schedule during the week, right? And then the list of layers you can add to this goes on and on. Remember, this is just a basic marketplace. People just go in, buy or sell stuff, and that's it. But maybe there's some kind of membership tier you can add to that, and you can leverage the physical space so people can actually use it for something. So in the coffee store idea, you can say, hey, we sell coffee and coffee accessories. But if you're actually a member of this tier because you pay for a membership or because you made this many sales or you actually made this many purchases, you now have access to our exclusive place. Come with your laptop, work here. We're going to offer coffee. You can buy coffee in there. We're also going to be doing like coffee events every once in a while. There's also a library with books you can use. And then we can say, hey, wait, if you're actually in the more premium membership, that's a little bit more expensive or it's a little bit more exclusive, you actually have access to this dark secret room where we do weekly tastings of our, most exclusive coffees, and it's only for you. Whatever. I'm just coming up with an idea right now, but you get the point, right? So I think obviously this is a different business than maybe the initial one, but you're in the end a coffee store. You're in the end a wine marketplace, right? The whole point of this is that if you start thinking more and more towards in real life experiences, community membership, the business becomes an entirely like bigger concept, and I would dare to say that a much better one with a much better future ahead, and also more fun, right? So anyway, there you go. I think this is pretty much how to apply IRL experiences plus community building to any kind of business. I don't care the industry. I don't care what you sell. I don't care if it's a service, if it's a product, if it's a startup. I don't know. But if you sort of apply this concept, I think you're building something way more fun and essentially way stronger. Thanks for watching.